Hey, what's going on, folks? It's Mike here, and welcome to the next lesson in our D programming language series. In this lesson, I'm going to go ahead and talk about a keyword in the D programming language called auto. And auto is something that can help us create, or rather infer, data types. So we've learned about basic data types previously. Make sure you check out that lesson prior to this one in the series if you're following along. And now we can go ahead and talk about auto. Now, fair warning, I'm going to throw some concepts that we haven't seen yet in this series, but don't worry, we're going to get to those things. So some of those things that you'll see here, like classes and functions, well, we've got to talk about those. But where I want to draw your attention is just down here to this value here, which I've created as integer. And we've also got this neat thing here I can do called type ID, which can print out the type of, well, whatever this is here, which is a int here. That's what I've declared it as. That's one of our basic data types in D, again, that we learned from our previous lesson. And I've also got another data type here. I've called it user defined type here. I've just called it U, and we create a new object here. Again, if you're new to programming, don't worry, we're going to get to this. And for those of you who've done Java, C++, etc., this is going to look pretty familiar. So let's just go ahead and run this code here. I'm going to go ahead and use the runtime D tool to just run this, and it prints out the type here, int, as expected here, because that's what we said it is. And this one here that we printed out, U, is, well, user-defined type. That's the actual type that it's using here. That's the type ID. Now it's got a little main appended to it, and again, we'll talk about that later, but that's the idea. So the idea here, again, is that we're just able to determine what our types are when we run our program, and then just print them out. But what if I'm a little bit lazy or maybe need to infer the type here? Well, there's something that we can actually do in the D programming language and just replace int with auto. And let's just go ahead and replace user-defined type, which is a really long thing to type out, with auto here. And now if I go ahead and run this program, you're going to see that it does, well, the same exact thing. And that's because auto is able to infer the type here. So sometimes you'll see this stylistically when programmers write code like this, and just be able to avoid having to determine the type here and just let the compiler again infer this. Now, sometimes this can be nice because maybe later on in your code, you'll update something, like perhaps you'll store a bigger range here. So let's go ahead and try to make this number even bigger here. Let's add a bunch more spots here, and let's see if we can get our compiler to choose a different type for us. Still an int. I think I need to add a few more zeros here. Let's go ahead and see. And now it's a long. So I didn't have to really go through my code or change a bunch of other things here. Again, the compiler was just able to figure it out, which is pretty cool here, that now this is a long because, well, it decided that's the sort of storage class or the variable type that was needed to store this value here. And again, we could see this update here with value. And sometimes when you're, say, returning things from functions, it can be nice to use auto as well. So let me go ahead to this add function here, and you'll go ahead and see that I could change this to auto. And again, if I run this, this code compiles just fine. Now, we're eventually going to get into things like templates, where maybe I'll have two different types here, and I'll replace these types here with T1 and T2. And assuming I have different types here, and if they're compatible, meaning that if I need to add an integer and a float or something, auto can sort of deduce what the right type is, okay, when we actually do this add here. So let's go ahead and just do an example here where I'm going to return the result of add. And again, this is new stuff, and I'll have an integer and a float here. Let's go ahead and see if that works here. 5 and 7.2. And I'll end a semicolon here. And let's go ahead and, whoops, I flipped the windows on you. Let me go ahead and cycle those back here. That's control, there we are. All right, so you can see the code here. And again, let's go ahead and write out the result. And I'm just gonna do type ID of our result. And let's go ahead and see if this compiles here. So it does. And it was able to determine that we needed a float here for our result. And, you know, just for our sake here, let's just go ahead and print out our result to make sure that we have the right thing. And I'll go ahead and rerun this, and you can see, yes, we got 12.2. So again, I didn't really have to think about, was this the right precision or any of these sort of things here. It's just able to deduce this. Now, where we can run into trouble sometimes, again, is just being careful with the actual data type that we have here. So for instance, let me get rid of this negative sign here. And let's just go ahead and see what it chooses for value. What does auto deduce for us? So I'll go ahead and run this, and it's still along here. But maybe it was more appropriate for us to do something like an unsigned long, which you can usually do with ul or some suffix in different languages at the end here, and see that it's a unsigned long. So I would have to put that after this number if I truly wanted to make this an unsigned long. And again, the purpose of this, and we've identified here, let me just run it one more time, as a unsigned long, is that maybe later on in our actual type system, we would want to have asserts on a type here and infer that this value is in fact unsigned long. So sometimes you'll still want to write the type out here if it makes you more comfortable to do unsigned long here, which of course in D is u long. So you can see that it works just the same here. Now we can do some other interesting things with auto. I showed you one sneak peek here with functions. You can even make member variables in your classes auto in some cases, so that this value can also be inferred. Again, I typically, for something like this, would just specify the exact type so I know exactly how many or how much memory is being used. For example, you just might want a short, or maybe you just want a char if it's within range. So again, the compiler is going to try to default to something good. Again, if I try to take this example here with auto and I just store the number, let's say 2 here, well, maybe we really only needed a char, but it defaulted to an int here, okay, for this auto value that it's printing out. So again, you have to be a little bit careful with auto. Most folks like using it though, and most of the times when you're declaring some type here, like on line 22, where you have the same thing on the left side as the right side, and if that's your intent, auto is just fine. So auto is something I just want to introduce you to the D programming language. It's actually really powerful beyond just inference for types. And we got to see a little bit of a sneak peek of that with these functions here. So I think that's something useful to know about. So folks, I hope you enjoyed that lesson. And again, we're getting into some cool stuff relatively fast with the D programming language, but we'll go ahead and keep building ourselves up with some of the different features of the language so that you can see them. So if you enjoyed that, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss lessons in this series. Give it a thumbs up if you thought this was useful or you learned something about auto, or maybe comment below if you've done something cool with auto, know something that I don't know about auto and want to comment below. That's always welcome. And I'll look forward to reading those comments later. With that said, I'll see you in the next lesson very, very soon.